As a famous Chinese philosopher said, opportunities multiply as they are seized. Welcome to the Shanghai International Circuit then for the PSGL F1 Chinese Grand Prix, and after my week break I have fully recovered from that drinking session in Dublin, and I'm back to bring you live commentary on GamingAlimonda of the latest round of Season 20 of what has become quite an intriguing championship, it has to be said, given the recent result we saw at the Spanish Grand Prix, where Louisw03 really ignited his title bid, reducing the gap to 19 points to Ashbest, who had by far his worst result of the season, being caught up in the midfield there. So, quick look at the championship, top 5. As ever, the full championship standings are available on the official PSGL F1 Twitter, so if you haven't already and you want to keep an eye on all the everyday going-ons there, add them to your Twitter. They would appreciate the follow-up there. So, Ashbest leads the way on 73 points, as I mentioned, a 19-point gap. 54 points for Louisw03. XJackLacey, former PSGL F1 champion, he's on 50 points, and then 41 points for CCbrain, who's having a good season so far, 2 podiums for him. And then Oogie Azeem, having won in Bahrain, hasn't really scored many points recently though, he's making up the top 5 on 31 points. So one of the more intriguing news is that Ashbest may possibly be missing a few races at the end of the season, so he'll be looking to maximise as many points as he can, because he may end up not winning the championship due to absence, but hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but we shall see but as the rounds go on. So I can see quite a few of you in the chat already. I tell you what, with this multi-screen setup, this is absolutely brilliant. It makes it so much easier, because I used to have to go in between 2 rooms and stuff, and now I've got it all right next to each other, nice and simple. So it's taken a while to put this setup together, but I'm very happy with it. So then, China then, a very long circuit this one, 5.4 kilometers, 16 turns, 2 DRS zones, one on the main straight, and then obviously the most famous one, or maybe infamous depending on your point of view, the 1 kilometer back straight, one of the longest straights in Formula 1, where we will see the majority of the overtakes in this race, I do believe. Big chance of rain here. I've seen plenty of wet races at China in leagues, not just PSGL over the years, so don't be surprised if we see a wet race. So we've got the super soft, medium, intermediate and full wet compounds available for this particular race. Most of the drivers, I'm sure, will go on the super softs if we do get a dry quali. So let's have a look who's in the chat right now. We got Josh, we got JPTV, a regular viewer of course, Ashbest, as ever, will have the stream going on to listen into the strategy and variety. Abiodun as well, good to see you there, and hopefully we get more regular audience. I'm just going to check one more thing. Let me know if I haven't been talking for 5 minutes without any of you guys hearing me. Just confirm you can hear me, because like I said, this is a new setup. And am I loud, am I quiet? Let me know, because I want to get this all sorted if I can tonight, or at least make some notes anyway. And yeah, absolutely right from the PSGL Twitter. It is absolutely scorching today. I'm going to be roasted by the end of this stream when I've got the PC and the PS4 belting out the heat. But I've got plenty of water, so I will be well hydrated, so I can bring you the best commentary on this race that I possibly can. As the countdown goes away, the usual 12-minute qualifying session, followed by a 50% distance race. And well, Louisw03 and Ashbest, they have dominated the qualifying sessions this season. They're the only 2 drivers who have actually been on the top step of the grid all season. Can any of the drivers break back into that position? I don't have updated constructors standings unfortunately, but I do believe McLaren still have a fairly healthy advantage at the top. I have a feeling that Toro Rosso might be second thanks to Louisw03's recent performances, but again, I don't have an updated constructors championship. So then, this Chinese Grand Prix hasn't actually been done that many times in the past in this particular league. In fact, this will only be the 7th time, based on records, that this race has been held. There are no former winners in the grids. Baker's F1, a 2-time winner here. Iran, very famously, won here back in Season 10. And our most recent winner, back in Season 18, the second of his 2 wins here at the Shanghai International Circuit, Jamie, former PSGL F1 champion himself, who is absolutely flying on GT Sport at the moment. Anyone who follows him on Twitter, he's putting together quite the resume for himself on that particular game, having moved across from F1. So congratulations to Jamie, he's been absolutely sensational on GT Sport, I have to say. But back to the Formula 1. as we get the old loading screen. And oh god, I hope I didn't. I think I may have accidentally not skipped it. I hope it's not blocked afterwards. So then, here we got 16 drivers here today, and we have a couple of returns, as you may have noticed today. Npyne returns to PSGL F1, having, well, we thought we had seen the last of him for a while after his final race at Japan last season, but no, he is back for round 7 as we go into the second half of the season. And another familiar face, Cliffy, the man who was one half of that epic title battle at Suzuka last season, runners-up on callback on Wednesday, and he has returned, and he will be driving in the Renault. And Npyne, I do believe, has replaced Hellboy, so he will be in the Force India. So look out for the flying Npyne in the Force India and Cliffy in the Renault. Cliffy and QPRBeasts, that could be a pretty decent midfield partnership, or maybe even better as the season goes on. There's still plenty of races to go. As AMS comes out of the pit lane, he's been a very good teammate for Ashbest this season, getting plenty of points throughout the season, so he will certainly be looking for a similar result like that. Now, given that a lot of drivers are rushing out straight away, I wonder if we're going to get some early rain here. It's something that's quite common with this track, actually. Early rain in qualifying sessions. It was the same in F1 2016 as well, as we see Big C following one of the Ferraris. I believe that's Lordyboy. No, it's not Lordyboy, it's Abiodun, actually, as Big C does a dive down the inside just to practice. Now, let's see if Ashbest, as usual, made his customary getaway in qualifying. It's got a Sauber right behind him. And that will be Oogie, Azeem or Wocko. And no co-commentator tonight, unfortunately. Remco, in his own words, has had a pool party. So hope he's enjoying the cocktails and bikinis, or whatever those Dutch people do. Pretty crazy parties, having known a few Dutch people myself. So hopefully he survives tonight, and hopefully we do as well, after some great PSGL F1 action, as Ashbest, the reigning champion, looks to get his title defence back on track after that dreadful outing at Spain last week. Some of it not down to him, of course. He had some difficulties getting past Blizard, and then a real scrap with QPRB, so it's just a race to forget for him. He'll be looking to strike back in the best possible fashion as he flies round the opening set of corners on this Shanghai lap. That's probably not fog in the distance, that's probably smog from all the pollution. So let's just have a look then. So, no real corner names on this track, but Sector 1 quite technical as we head into Turn 6. Quite a difficult braking area there, and that will be a possible overtaking opportunity for anyone who gets a poor exit out of Turn 4. And then the run down through 5. I think we'll see a few dive bombs down there, and then the brilliant turn 7 and 8, flat out through 7. Then you have to really judge the apex for 8, and then going down the gears through 9, and then going back up the gears towards the end of sector 2, and then turn 11, which again is a very tricky, slightly uphill corner, kind of like turn 9 at Malaysia, but not quite as uphill, so it's fairly easy, but you have to get the traction right. So then, going through the DRS activation zone, and then 13, and then down the blast of this 1 kilometre straight. Technically only Baku has a longer straight than this one. And we will see plenty of overtakes, especially with the DRS wing opening, as we get a nice rear shot of Ashbest's rear wing. And he looks as though he will be the first person to set a time here. At the 50-metre mark board, he slows the car down. That's a beautiful apex from Ashbest, no problems there. This looks like a very solid time. Cliffy, the only one on the soft so far. So let's see then, Ashbest heads to the line. What sort of time is this going to be? And I'll tell you, it's a 1:32.150. That's a very nice banker. And Wocko, well, he is way off, so that is an excellent banker from Ashbest. That's going to be difficult to beat. Now let's see, where is Louisw03? Is he on a flying lap? Yes, indeed. And VSR Lewis, I'm sorry, I'm so used to calling Louisw03, to be honest. And I'm just going to have a look, see if any other comments in a moment. See a few other people join. Frizzo, Frome as well, Game Freaker, good to see you all. And it's Joe as well. So let's see what Lewis does in response. And he crosses the line and he goes even quicker, and it's by over half a second. We're into the 1:31s already. Wow. Statement has been made by the Toro Rosso driver. Once again, the qualifying pace is fantastic. Maybe Ashbest, it wasn't as good a lap as I thought it was. Greeny just behind, and see sort of Williams having a good qualifying session so far. And Cliffy has retired. and he's given up already, so he's looking to start from the back of the grid to go on to a different strategy. Now I wonder why that is the case. We don't know the weather at this stage, but we're not going to try not to spoil it for you, so it's a nice surprise. But I get a sense that we could be getting a wet race if people are doing that sort of thing. And Lickle actually goes above Ashbest into second place. So we've got a VSR and a Voltex driver in the top two at the moment. Ashbest is going to have something to think about as he goes on his in-lap. So majority of the grid have already done their times. What about Lordyboy? Lordyboy is going through the opening sector, and I think he may have invalidated his first run because this looks like the second run. So then the top 10, Lewis, Lickle, Ashbest, Greeny, CCbrain, QPRBeasts, Pine, 7th at the moment on his return. Blizard, AMS and Paudie, Big C only 14th in the and he's just jumped up to 7th as I was saying it. So Big C went for a second run, and he's a second off the pace. In 7th place at the moment, and that knocks Paudie out of the top 10. So it's very, very tight from second downwards, second down to 7th, very tight. But Lewis, that was a blistering first lap. And yes, you are correct, Lickle. Ash is indeed Voltex, having recently been recruited by them, so congratulations to him on that. It was no wonder of the form he's shown in recent races in PSGL F1 and in other leagues, of course. So Lordyboy going through then on the main straight. There's a Force Indy behind. I wonder if he'll get a nice toe if indeed he is on a flying lap. So Lordyboy's got to try. No, he's backing off. He's really backing off. So he's coming back to pits. So yeah, he doesn't want to do a lap and then have inferior tyre wear if indeed it is a dry race. We shall see. This can be a very tricky pit entry. If you go a bit too fast, it's not as bad as it used to be, because there used to be a gravel trap on the right there, and now and Lordyboy, I wonder if we'll see any overtakes in the pit lane during the race. That would be something. So there's no one out on track except for Lewis, as in Louis, QPRBeasts and Big C at the moment. So let's just see if they're actually on a flying run. No, QPRBeasts is 2 seconds down. Big C returns to pit. So it's kind of a lull at the moment. Nobody out on track, and they're waiting for about a minute or so. I think we'll start seeing cars. So a bit of a lull at the moment. Unusual for a qualifying session to see this little track activity. But it's going to be a mad scramble soon. In fact, a lot of people are going to be leaving quite late, so there could be a lot of traffic, and that could play a factor. Someone getting a bit more slipstream on that back straight, that could gain them a few tenths, or they were just getting each other's way, and that could really compromise their last runs. And that, indeed, if that is the case, some of these times could be final for some of the drivers out here. So predictions for the race top 3 after qualifying is over. I would be very interested to know what your thoughts are on that. It's been a, Ashbest dominated the early parts of the season, but Spain has sort of, I wouldn't say it's opened the door to Lewis, but it's sort of just nudged it ajar slightly. But if Lewis can back that up with another win today and Ashbest has another poor race, then it is truly on. But 19 points is still a fairly comfortable gap for the time being. But after the end of the race, we could really get an impression of where the championship is going. We had those 3 races in Europe, and then we are now doing a mini trip through the Far East, starting with China, then Singapore next week, and then returning to Suzuka. And if we get a race at Suzuka that's half as good as the season's finale last season, then you have to come back and watch that one. The most watched race I've ever had on my channel, incidentally. We've got 20 watching at the moment, so much appreciated to you guys. And if you enjoy the broadcast tonight, leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, let's just have a look. See any more comments here. It's a couple of low as we get AMS and Abby going out on track for the time being. I'm sure we're going to see more. It's just over 2.5 minutes of the session now. So Greeny, Blizzard, AMS and Abby, the first to come out. Lickle is starting to come out as well, but I used to suspect Ashbest and Lewis will leave it to the absolute last minute. So, yeah, everyone's coming out. Just going to stick with Abby just for a few seconds. He's currently in 13th. Had some decent results in his PSGL F1 career so far. Joe and 14th. So Lordyboy, the only person who hasn't set a time in terms of those still running. Cliffy decided he didn't want to do any real qualifying, so maybe he's looking to set his car up for the race rather than qualifying. Although, so Cliffy, well, if he's as quick as he has been in the past in PSGL F1, he is going to be one to watch as he tries to make his way back through the field. But turn 1 is a very tricky affair here. It's kind of like you go in it full blast and then it's kind of hard braking then on the throttle just to keep the speed going but not go too wide. It's very hard to judge. Let's see how Abby deals with it actually, because he's one of the first to start his final flying run. So we get a nice view from behind the start lights. Let's watch the Ferrari sweep round turn 1 and 2 and then tries to slow the car down. Ooh, goes slightly deep but he recovers it. Good apex on 2 and 3. Yeah, that was very 2 and 3 lovely, smooth there. Went slightly wide at 1, so he may have lost a temp or 2 there. Let's see if he can beat his personal best so far. Abby then goes through sector 1. It's a 24.557 according to the timing screen. That was not an improvement, unfortunately. So let's switch our attention to top 3 at the moment in qualifying. Lewis is about to get to the end of the lap and there's a Red Bull there, and I think that's Paudie. So I wonder what Paudie's about to do. Paudie did not improve by the looks of it. So Lewis is on his flying lap. Where is Lickle? Lickle is already on his flying lap. He's just going through sector 1. Ashbest is about to start his flying lap. So those are the 3 we are definitely going to keep an eye on here. See who else is out there. Greeny's through sector 2 at the moment. Abby by now should be towards the end of the lap. Indeed he is, so he will be one of the first runners. So we'll go to Abby, then Greeny, and then we will switch to some other drivers, because by the time these 2 have finished, likes of Ashbest, Lickle and Lewis will be nearing the end of the laps. Lickle will be the first, I believe, of the top 3 to cross the line. So AMS has retired and Abby improves to 7th. That's a good lap. Now Greeny rounds the final corner, and what's he going to do? Greeny crosses the line and he goes 2nd. Brilliant time. And Lickle heading to the hairpin now, and I think that's a Mercedes ahead. Is that Big C? Yes, it must be, because XJackLacey isn't here, so that's the only Mercedes running. I don't know if Big C's on a flying lap. He's about to cross the line ahead. Oh, Lickle getting a bit of oversteer on the curbs. Lickle crosses the line and he goes into 2nd place for the time being. Lewis goes behind, and I believe that is the Red Bull Paudie up ahead. So Lewis is still pole position. Lickle could not, but he got within 2 tenths. So can Lewis improve, make Ashbest's life even harder? And he can. He extends the time a little bit more. 1:31.541. Where is Ashbest? Ashbest heading down the back straight. He's got to get the braking right, and for the time being, Lewis is on provisional pole with Lickle in 2nd, Greeny 3rd, Paudie 4th. Brilliant qualifying from Paudie. QPRBeasts in 5th, Blizard up to 6th. So Ashbest at the moment is only 7th. He's got to find some time to at least get near Lickle, and and he goes a bit wide just like Lickle did, and he crosses the line. And what was that? 5th, only 5th for Ashbest. So Ashbest could not get the best out of that McLaren today. So 1:31.895. So here's our qualifying result. Lewis takes pole position. Lickle alongside him in 2nd. Greeny, a brilliant qualifying from him, and Paudie as well, incidentally. Ashbest, by his highest standards in qualifying, disappointing in 5th. QPRBeasts in 6th. Blizzard in 7th. AMS in 9th. Npyne in 9th in the top 10 on his return. CCbrain in 10th. Wocko, Abby, Big C, Joelianomanu, Lordyboy and Cliffy make up the grid. Lordyboy and Cliffy, incidentally, the only 2 who didn't set a time. So fresh tyre choice for all of those outside to them, but we don't know what the weather's going to be for the race, so very intriguing qualifying session. Quite a mixed up grid actually compared to what we've seen in the past. Right, let's take a quick swig of water as we get ready then. And it's bright sunshine, so it's a dry race indeed. Let's have a look and see if it will show me what the tyre choices are. Assuming these are correct, everyone outside no, it's mediums for Abby actually, and softs for the rest. So different strategy. So no one's gone for the aggressive super soft strategy outside the top 10. So softs for Wocko, Joelianomanu, Lordyboy, Cliffy and Big C. Oh no, now they've switched to the medium, so it's free. So let's assuming those are correct. Let's go back to the pit lane as we go under 10 seconds to go before the start of the PSGL F1 Chinese Grand Prix. And who's going to be celebrating the year of the dragon, or will it be more the year of the rabbit for some of these drivers? We're about to find out as we get underway here at Shanghai. 5 red lights. What have Lewis, Lickle and Greeny in the top 3. Slight delay, lights out and away we go. It's a great start from VSR. Lewis, and Lickle has to cover off Greeny behind as they sweep round turn 1 for the first time. Lickle holds off Greeny. Can Greeny go slightly late on the brakes? Yeah, so watch out for Paudie though on the inside of Greeny. He's fighting for top 3. Oh, and there's a slight ghosting of the car, and Paudie's been forced wide and he's going to lose places. And that's going to be to the likes of Ashbest, who's actually gained some places already. So let's get the Ashbest is up to 4th. So a great start from Ashbest. QPRBeasts just behind. Blizard in 6th. Paudie down to 7th. So it's a bad start for Paudie. There's changes of position going on everywhere behind. So let's have a brief look down the order, see what the hell is going on. And oh, Lordyboy has already lost it. It's a disastrous start for Ferrari, and CCbrain's been caught up in an incident as well. So what a horrendous start for Scuderia Ferrari. Absolute calamity for the Italian outfit. Lewis goes through sector 2. The end of sector 2 for the first time. We've got yellows again in sector 2. I assume that's something to do with the Ferrari. So Lickle keeping a watching brief of Lewis ahead. Greeny is in third as they sweep around. This is one of my favourite camera shots in the game. As you see the whole grid sweeping around the bend and heading down the DRS straight, and look how close they are. And can Lickle's straight line speed not that great, to be honest. He didn't really close in on Lewis that much, to be honest with you. So yeah, main story of that first lap is the Ferraris have had a real shocker. Cliffy's gained 5 places in the back of the grid and he's battling away with Wocko. Oof. Look at that, they're taking a lot of curb, taking a little bit of a chance. Oh, they might end up like Giovinazzi in 2017. Meanwhile behind, there's a battle going on for Lewis. Oh, and Blizard goes round the outside of QPRBeasts, and can he make the move stick? That was nearly a massive collision, but that was ultra brave from the Haas driver, and he gets the move done. I don't know if he damaged QPRBeasts, there was slight contact, but what a move. Meanwhile Paudie, oh, Paudie's off. Just saw it in the corner of my eye, and Paudie's race goes from bad to worse, and he is down to 9th. And watch out for Cliffy just behind, and Paudie runs wide. Cliffy moves up to 9th position, and he's on the medium tyres, so he's had a brilliant start. Highest medium runner, everybody outside the top 10 started on the mediums by the looks of it. So Cliffy in 9th position at the moment, and in terms of the strategy, in an absolutely brilliant position. So let's go back to the front then. Lewis has broken the DRS gap already. So if anything, Greeny's going to be putting the Force India driver Lickle under pressure. And Ashbest though, he's right there as well. Top 4 kind of getting away from Blizzard fairly quickly. Let's see then, is there any sort of action going on behind? Oh, Ashbest actually getting quite close to the back Greeny. So let's just have him take a quick look at the championship leader. He can see his nearest rival, who's 19 points behind him at the moment. Excited to get away a little bit, so he's got to start to get these moves done. Oh, and there's contact ahead. I think Greeny just chipped off a bit of his wing on the back of that Force India. Yes, I saw a little bit of carbon fibre flying off into the hairpin. So that's going. Oh, and Greeny pits. He has damaged his wing. Oh, it's a disaster for Williams with CCbrain's accident on lap 1. And now Greeny pitting for a wing change. Ah, oh, dearie me. Absolute calamity for Williams. This is something you don't see in real life at all right now, I guess. The Williams team having a dreadful race. But anyway, wing change for Greeny, and he goes onto the softs. I'm not sure he'll get to the end on the softs, so he's obviously trying to gain back the time in a different fashion. So Ashbest now putting the pressure on Lickle. These two have had some fierce battles in the past, sometimes a little bit too fierce. Let's see what they can do as they fly through this fantastic turn 7 and 8. Lewis now has a 1.8 second advantage, so DRS has been enabled, of course. Lap 3 of 28 of the PSGL F1 Chinese Grand Prix, and we've seen some fairly good action already. Cliffy is closing in on the back of Paudie's. Actually got back past Cliffy. Not sure how he's done that. Cliffy must have made a mistake somewhere, because Paudie went miles wide when we saw Cliffy get through. Well, we're going to stick on board with Ashbest and give me a better oh yes, thank you director for giving me that silver. But anyway, let's go on board with Ashbest. DRS enabled then. And nope, still goes through the rear wing. Ashbest goes to the inside. Lickle didn't really defend it, to be honest, giving him all the space in the world. Ashbest just needs to get it slowed down, and he takes second place. Now, can he give chase towards him? Blizzard battling hard with QPRBeasts behind. Will there be DRS on the main straight, or will Blizzard get away? I don't think Lickle's getting any closer, so I think this is the closest battle in the top 5 at the moment. Note for the time being, look how close QPRBeasts is. Oh, and he's struggling in the dirty air. Got yellows in sector 2, and that must be Lordyboy, because Lordyboy is out of the race. First retirement of the race. Lordyboy has called it a day. He's had a dreadful race. I don't know if he's got wet tyres on or something, but he seemingly can't keep that Ferrari on the track whatsoever. Dearie me, Ferrari. Well, back to the drawing board for Singapore next week for the Scuderia, you would imagine. AMSN currently in 7th. So let's do a rundown top 10. Lewis, Ashbest, Lickle, Blizzard, QPRBeasts, Npyne, AMS, Paudie, Npyne in 6th, Cliffy in 9th, Wocko in 10th. So the medium runners going strong at the moment. CCbrain probably had the dreadful start for the Super runners. There must have been contact at turn 1 because there was so much going on the front. I didn't see what happened except for the sort of aftermath of it. Let's see if Lickle can get back at Ashbest. No, I don't think Ashbest has already left Lickle for dead. So the closest, oh, and QPRBeasts was close to Blizzard, but he certainly will be compromised going that wide. Will that leave him open to that? Npyne has had an absolutely brilliant return to PSGL F1 so far, up into P6. He's on the Supersoft top 10 quality, but yeah, he's having a great run of it so far. So big winners and losers then. Cliffy gaining 7, clearly the biggest winner. Greeny losing 12 places because of that contact. And look at that brilliant exit for Npyne. And in fact, even though QPR's got the DRS, Npyne's going to have half a chance to go around the outside. Well, he switches to the inside brilliantly. Now he's got to squeeze QPRBeasts out to get the move done, and he does. What an absolutely brilliant overtake by Npyne, and he moves up to 5th place. For that, well, if he's that good in go-karting, he'll be doing very well with his full-time driving go-karting, as you've seen on his Twitter, but absolutely fantastic. QPRBeasts slightly caught off guard by that switchback. Brilliant stuff from the Force India driver. So, let's see what else is going on. AMS now, maybe the next to challenge the Renault driver for 6th place. We shall see. Big C currently outside the top 10, the 7th-time PSGL F1 champion, trying to make a move on Wocko. Not quite getting the move done. So the top 7 kind of dropping the likes of Paudie and Cliffy for the time being. I wonder if Paudie is damaged, because he did go off at turn 3. He may have hit the wall there. Didn't quite see the full incident. But we shall see what goes on. So the gap between the top 2, about 2 seconds at the moment. Undercut quite powerful here, so I wonder if Ashbest will think about doing an early pit stop, maybe trying to get the jump on Lewis. We shall see. So AMS is getting closer and closer and closer to this Renault in front. DRS enabled for the McLaren. And how much defending can Lewis do? Not a lot, to be honest. But, oh, look at that. AMS went way too deep, and that will allow QPRBeasts to get on the traction. But oh, they're going side by side through the final corner. Who's going to be braver? Oh, yes. Forces him off. Gets the elbows out a little bit. That was hard but fair driving from AMS. And he moves up to 6. So QPRBeasts had a pretty strong start, but now he's sort of dropping back. Does he have damage? Let's have a look. Possibly an end plate missing on the right side, actually. So maybe that explains QPR's lack of pace at the moment. If indeed he's going to nurse that damage to the first pit stop, then he's going to be pretty slow. And the likes of Paudie and Cliffy will be catching him up quickly. Wocko's had a bit of a shocker this lap. He was pretty close to Cliffy, but now he's really dropped back. 2.2 seconds the gap is now between Wocko and Cliffy in terms of the battle for the top 10. So Big C will be looking to get into the top 10 very shortly. Let's just have a look at QPR again. He's really struggling with front grip. Understandable given the damage that he has on his car. So will Paudie be able to put him under pressure? So Ashbest has taken a 10th or so out of Lewis on this lap so far, but it's not exactly mega quicker. This is where, you know, the qualifying could prove so costly for Ashbest, because he had to waste that time getting past the likes of Lickle and QPRBeasts, and that's why Lewis has the advantage. But 1.9 is not an insurmountable advantage. So have to wait and see. As Paudie goes pretty deep into that following corner. And now the Renault, Cliffy, is right behind him. So I wonder if Lewis may do some team orders for Cliffy, maybe, given his damage. He apparently has, and I've lost the chat for some reason. Ah, there it is. Good start. Let's see, yeah. Lewis really struggling through the first corner. Paudie then looking to regain some of the positions lost. He lost 4 positions. He had such a good qualifying, but yeah, he just got sort of squeezed out at the start and then had a couple of incidents. But Frizzer with an interesting comment. Well, yeah, if my voice is relaxing, fair enough. But Paudie now will be trying to challenge QPR through the next corner. 7 and 8. It's a very tricky corner. It's very easy to slide the car to left. When you do that, you lose so much time. Npyne then is closing onto the back of Blizard. So let's just have a quick look. No, Pyne's not that close. He was within a second momentarily. So let's go back to the battle for 7th place, because I think we may get a little battle down the main straight. QPRBeasts out of DRS range of AMS ahead, so he is going to be very vulnerable yet again to another overtake. So Paudie doesn't seem to have damage to its wing, unlike the Renault ahead. So Renault power versus Renault power, Red Bull versus Renault. Let's see then. I know it's equal cars, but use your imagination. So down the inside goes Paudie, and unlike AMS, he just sort of squeezes him out. And now the other Renault of Cliffy, as Big C then moves up to 10th, and I think Cliffy was just allowed through by his teammate. I think, yeah, he had no choice really. He's got the damage, no point holding his teammate up. Paudie pits then, lap 8. What's this going to be for? Is this going to be for mediums? I wonder. Tyre wear is quite high here at Shanghai, and it's the mediums, but one stop. No, it's a soft compound. No. Well, that was confusing. It was softs and mediums, so yeah, it was definitely a medium compound, I believe. The Wocko down to 10th position on track. So we're getting our first pit stops proper of the race. CCbrain in as well. It's our wing change for CCbrain as well. Let's just have a quick look at him. No, don't think so. So he didn't get any big... He was caught up with the Ferraris on the first lap. So Ashbest, the gap still has stabilised 1 by 8. But I tell you what, it's getting a bit dark, isn't it? A bit of fog rolling in over the track. Again, it could be pollution from Shanghai, very polluted city, but then again, we could get some rain late on in the race maybe, so keep an eye out on that. So quite a lot of big gaps at the moment. Closest battle seems to be Big C versus Wocko. So Big C is out of DRS range of Wocko, so I wonder, let's see if we get a little battle here. Big C though, good traction coming out of turn 12 and 13, and that will probably mean Wocko doesn't really have a chance of getting near him. So there is no real battles going on at the moment, so there's a bit of a lull at the moment, so the pit stops need to play out. Paudie going earlier to try and get the undercut some of the drivers ahead, so the likes of AMS and Npyne need to watch themselves, because Paudie is pitted pretty early. Yes, he is indeed on the medium. So Greeny on the soft, so he will be stopping again at some point, unless of course we get some rain and he can stretch them out to that. We shall see. So then, let's have a quick rundown of the top 10. Lewis, Ashbest, Lickle, Blizard, Npyne, AMS, Cliffy, QPRBeasts, Big C and Wocko make up the top 10 for this PSGL Chinese Grand Prix in the F1 League. We've seen some great overtakes so far, but as I say, it's a bit of a lull at the moment as the pit stops begin, as those on the super softs end their first stints. One retirement from the race so far, that being Lordyboy, who had an absolute disaster at the start of the race. Oh, a bit of oversteer, but yeah, the top 2 in a league of their own. Lickle doing a solid job in 3rd place for Force India, but he's just unable to live with the pace of the top 2. And you know, it's not that surprising given the performances these two have put forward in this league this season. And Lewis, don't forget, he joined F1 last season, and were it not for a couple of horrendous results, he may have even been challenging for the title. So Lewis is certainly, going into this season, was always going to be one of those to challenge Ashbest. He just had a very slow start to the season, but he's really hitting some form now. So Ashbest is going to have to find his very best, excuse the pun, to get back into Lewis. And it's a pit stop then. So I mentioned it earlier, Ashbest was maybe thinking about pitting a bit earlier, but where's he going to feed out into traffic? That could be very important as well. Fairly easy pit lane to stop for. Nickel then, so where is Ashbest going to feed out? That is going to be very important. So he pits then. What's it going to be? It's the soft compound. So softs for Ashbest. Paudie went on the medium, so that's interesting. And Npyne's car just goes into the pit garage. So there's Joelianomanu, who goes, whoa! Nearly collected Ashbest. That was insanely close. Joelianomanu fancies a little scrap with the reigning champion here, but my goodness. I don't know if it was the camera angle, but Joelianomanu nearly power drived Ashbest off the circuit. Accidentally, of course. Now Ashbest is going to go for a lunge down the inside. Joelianomanu should get better traction. There's better grip on the outside coming out of turn 6. So Ashbest is not going to get the undercut. Oh, and round the outside. Ashbest has fresh tyres and he gets the job done. So Joelianomanu made a mistake through 7 and 8, and that allows Ashbest to get back through. But has that cost? Ashbest a chance of using the undercut. And meanwhile, Cliffy is closed on the back. The super softs of the McLaren driver are completely gone. So Cliffy is moving up to 4th place on the medium compound. Now I'll tell you what, Cliffy can get these mediums to a rain period, for example, and all the super soft runners pit. He's going to be in position to maybe win this race, but we just don't know what the weather's going to be. But Cliffy moves up. We got more pit stops. Lewis, Lickle pits, and Blizzard pits as well. So Cliffy is going to take the net lead of this race. AMS for some reason doesn't pit, even though his tyres look clearly gone to me. So he's going to cost himself. So now, where does Ashbest feed out? Where's Lewis? Lewis comes out, and I think he's ahead of Ashbest. He is. So that battle that Ashbest had to do with Joelianomanu has cost him. He's actually closer than he was before. He's just over a second behind. And now Lewis has got to get those tyres up to temperature quickly, because if Ashbest can close in to DRS range, he's still going to have a chance. Ashbest will be absolutely fuming. That McLaren pit crew just weren't quick enough to get in front of that Red Bull. And that Red Bull may have played a role in the outcome of this race, but there's a long way to go yet. Wocko, even though he's passed by Big C, he is still managing to keep up with him. So it's a good effort. Nickel's dropped even further behind. Npyne's actually right behind him. Let's see what Wocko does. Oh, wait a minute. Now, the only reason I can see AMS staying out is have we got imminent rain maybe? For a second I thought I saw some spots on the screen, but I was deceived. Now Wocko, a bit closer than he was a couple of laps ago. So is he going to think about a late Daniel Ricciardo-esque lunge down the inside of the hairpin? No, he's nowhere near close enough for that. Meanwhile, Npyne has got past his teammate. So what's going on with Lickle? Seems really off since going onto those softs. Has he got damage? Because Npyne wasn't that close to him. It's Ashbest, that's the fastest lap of the race. Trying desperately, then AMS pits then. AMS pits, and where does he come out? Oh, he's going to be outside the top 10. Oh, Paudie and Abby going side by side through turn 1, and around the outside goes Paudie. Don't think Abby's pitted yet. No, he hasn't, so he's on the medium still and really struggling on those 12 laps in. So Paudie's ended up ahead of AMS, so good, very good undercut from Paudie. He's going to be in a decent net position, because Greeny, we know, will have to pit again. 2 Force India's still going into combat. So Cliffy leads the race by 5 seconds, but the top 3, as you can see, haven't pitted yet. So quite a few of the strategies are playing out here. Joelianomanu hasn't pitted either, but his sort of intervention there when he got ahead of Ashbest, that could be so crucial. Lewis really putting the pace down on those soft tyres, but look, the likes of Wocko, Big C and Cliffy, they're not going to be pitting anytime soon, so Lewis is going to have some overtaking to do. You have to pass the Sauber, the 7-time champion, and Cliffy, last season's runner-up. and Wocko and Big C are battling as well, so they're not exactly going to wave the blue flags and send the Toro Rosso driver on his way. Louisw showing some really good pace already. He's got the gap up to 2 seconds. It was about 1.2 when he came out of the pits. So Louisw and Ashbest closing in, so I think we're going to get some very feisty action in a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. We got fresh soft runners catching to these 2 medium runners who've been on those since the start of the race. AMS fighting with Abiodun. Let's have a quick look at him. Yeah, AMS getting past Abi, so Abi down to 13. QPRBeasts got his wing changed, of course, so he's now in 14th, so real shame for him. He was in a really good position early on in the race. So let's have a look at Louisw. Louisw has closed in then onto the back of these 2, so we're going to keep an eye on this battle. So if he gets caught up behind these 2, it will give Ashbest an opportunity to close the gap down, because Ashbest and Louisw will clearly be a lot quicker than these 2 drivers ahead at the moment. They've got much fresher rubber. So Louisw then, will he think about getting the move done before the DRS into turn 11? No, he's going to wait for the DRS. But don't forget, Wocko's going to have DRS as well, so it's going to be all about the traction. Through the activation point they go. Could we even get a free wide situation here? We shall see. Oh, and Louisw really struggling. The dirty air from that Sauber really compromising him. Wocko going defensive. Is he going to... No, he's not going to make it easy. He is certainly not going to make it easy by the looks of it. And look at that, the DRS of Wocko will keep Louisw ahead. So for at least another half a lap at least, he's going to be trapped behind these 2 cars. And can Ashbest get closer? So far he isn't really. Louisw and Joelianomanu battling hard ahead. Louisw with the much fresher tyres. Side by side then go Wocko and Louisw. And they're going to go for turn 1 side by side. Oh, who's going to brake later? No, Wocko, to his credit, really good on the brakes there, but Louisw is going to come back. He's going to try and cut the corner, cut the apex rather, and Louisw with the superior grip gets the move done. So that's brilliant stuff from last week's race winner. Npyne and Joel now battling. Joel is really struggling now on those tyres. Now Big C will be trying to keep Louisw behind, so this is going to be a very intriguing little battle right here. Big C is not one to let people pass easily. Imagine if this was Iran right now, if he's watching. He would not be making it easy, and I'm sure Big C won't either, but Big C really struggling with traction. Louisw almost going a bit too far around the corner. It's like Joe, oh, and he's looking at Big C, trying to switch back. Oh, and he's gone a bit wide actually, Louisw. He's going to have much better traction. Look at that, Ashbest just behind. So we could get 2 overtakes at the same time. Will Big C go defensive? He's leaving a little gap to the inside, but yeah, he's left a little gap. Big C will try and squeeze him, but it's too late. Ashbest will go down the inside of Wocko as well at the same time. But this has cost Louisw time for sure. Will Big C come back at him? Yes, he will. And there's rain. I'm sure I just saw a spot of rain. Yes. Is that rain? I don't know the graphics sometimes, but look at that. Ashbest going down the inside of Big C as well. Big C had no tyres, so yes, that is definitely rain. So Cliffy is 7 seconds ahead. He is 7 seconds ahead, and he's on the mediums. He hasn't pitted yet, but he's in an amazing position tactically. Louisw has lost so much time. Oh my goodness. I saw a similar race like this in one of the other leagues that commentate. And incidentally, he was in a Renault, funnily enough. Unbelievable. So Cliffy, we now know exactly why he retired from qualifying. He wanted to start from the back on the mediums, stay out of trouble, and then wait for the rain. Wait for the super soft runners to all stop. But the rain's got to come quickly for him because he's not going to have any pace compared to Louisw. They will eat into that advantage quickly. But this is a familiar situation, isn't it? Cliffy, Louisw and Ashbest fighting for the lead of a race. We saw it in Japan last season, and what a battle that was. I'm just going to have a quick look down the order. Big C is running full. He's still in a good position. Big C and Wocko in for some really good points because Louisw is 7 seconds behind. Npyne is battling away with him. Just want to have a look at AMS quickly. AMS is closing in. Let's have a look at Ashbest actually. He's so close, he's in DRS range now, so that battle And Lewis had to fight, which really cost him big time. And that's what about AMS? Is he close enough to make a move on Paudie? What about Abiodun behind? No, he is not. So let's have a quick look at Ashbest. So the top two then, fighting for net second and third at the moment. So this rain, if it gets down quickly enough, Cliffy is going to be able to pit and get a significant advantage. There's still a lot of laps to go though, but track position at this point could be everything. Mediums can do a long stint. They are going to be going off big time right now. Oh, and Ashbest! Oh, and he gets a snap of oversteer. He saves it expertly, but he's cost him a few tenths. But he was inches from going on the damp grass, and that would have been it. That would have been his race over. 5.4 seconds to gap now. Cliffy is clearly going off the boil now. And he'll be praying to every rain god available. He'll be dancing in his helmet to get this rain quickly down as quickly as possible so he can pit and be in the lead of this race. And he'll be hoping that Lewis and Ashbest battle some more. We have seen in the past that Ashbest has had superior wet weather pace to Lewis, so we saw that at Belgium. They were very close in the drive, but when the rain came, Ashbest was by far the quicker driver at Spa. So Lewis may end up being ahead of Ashbest after the pit stop for the Inters. That won't mean the race will be over by any shape of the imagination. So Wocko still in DRS range at Big C, so he's done a really good job just hanging on to the back of him. Let's have a quick look at Joel, because he's under threat from his... Well, AMS has just dived down the inside of Paudie as well, so he's back into the points. Joel pits, so it's... Oh, I wonder if Joel's going to be the first to gamble onto the Inter tyres. Let's see what he does. So Inter tyres, it's a wing change. Super softs for Joel. Well, that's an interesting move. Does he know something we don't? Is a satellite picture actually going to be that the rain is just going to go away straight away? Well, that's a very intriguing decision from the Red Bull driver. That could be a hero or zero type decision. Look at that, Ashbest is so close now. Is Lewis beginning to struggle in these wet conditions? We shall find out shortly. 4.4 seconds, the gap between the top two now. They've dropped Big C and Wocko big time, but no surprise really, given the much fresher wire. There they go. So Ashbest, the wing opens, get a nice over-the-shoulder view of Ashbest as he runs up to top speed, 205, 206, 207 miles an hour as before he hits on the brakes. It's similar straight line speeds of these two drivers, so wasn't really much difference between them, so Ashbest was unable to close in. What about QPRBeasts? QPRBeasts has closed in to the back of Abby and Greeny, who are having a nice little scrap. Let's have a look at Abby actually. The rear wing opens then. Can he get close to Greeny? Can he get, because Big C pits then? Is he going to go onto the mediums? Let's have a look at Big C. What does Big C do? Super softs for Big C as well. So again, this race, the rain, sorry, may not be falling hard enough for Cliffy. He's now only 4 seconds ahead. So this is very, very intriguing. All the time Cliffy's advantage is being slightly ebbed away lap by lap. But the more intriguing thing, if it doesn't rain, will Lewis and Ashbest have to pit again? Probably not. So they'll be going slightly slower in these conditions, so they won't be pushing the tyres quite as hard. But Cliffy must be thinking, come on rain. And Greeny then has gone on to the Inters, so that's going to be an indication of how wet it is. There's not a lot of spray, I have to say, so I think Greeny might be a little bit too early, but don't forget, he's been on a set of tyres for a long, long time. So he may have had no choice but to gamble. So Big C comes out just ahead of QPRBeasts and Abiodun. So, Abiodun has really struggled with Ferrari driver. CCbrain just behind him then. Will we get a change position maybe? Let's have a look. A little bit of coverage for the Williams team. CCbrain could rise up through turns 12 and 13. DRS is still enabled, so that is always a telltale sign that it's not enough for the wets yet. I'm looking at Greeny's times for the time being, see how much time he's losing. Oh, he's just lost a second in the sector. So look at that, Abby defending to the ends. He switched back, so for some reason he defended and then opened the door again. Almost like teasing CCbrain there, but wasn't the most effective defence in the end because CCbrain's got through and up into 12th place. So there's still points on offer for some of these drivers. They just keep going. So now the gap between the top two, now 3.2 seconds, and actually Lewis has broken the DRS of Ashbest, incidentally. So the rain still not coming. Let's just have a quick look at Greeny, see how much he's struggling in the rain. See what the brakes are like. Oh my goodness. Went so deep into that corner. Abiodun's pitted for Inters as well, so they're gambling. I guess they've got nothing to lose, running in 14th and 15th. But I don't think it's time. I just don't think it's time. The rain is just not falling over. And Greeny retires from the race. He's lost it. Must have gone onto the curbs, Giovinazzi style, and he's smashed it into the wall. We're going to get a safety car for sure, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime soon, you'll see those flashing lights, and we will get a safety car. No? Okay then, we will continue. So Cliffy, 2.8 seconds now, the top two. Cliffy must be thinking, why is this rain not falling harder? I had such a perfect strategy, but the rain gods are not with him. The Renault driver is absolutely now vulnerable to attack from Lewis and Ashbest, and his brilliant master strategy may be starting to look like folly because Lewis, surely, but look at that, actually the spray is beginning to, you can look at the water that's escaping from the tyres now. It is starting to get a bit more severe. It's very slow rain dropping here, so maybe we're about to hit the lap. Now CCbrain just pits. What's he going to go for? DRS disabled. So CCbrain pits. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to gain him too much. So Cliffy may have just hung along just enough. But Lewis, the top three may well be entering the pits virtually right next to each other. So Cliffy's done 20 laps on those mediums. Absolutely fantastic effort. How's he doing for fuel, incidentally? Let's have a look. 2.3 laps, 1.8 on Lewis and 1.5 on Ashbest. So they're all doing okay on fuel. Cliffy will probably want to burn off a bit of fuel on the straight, because you don't want too much fuel when it rains. So, you don't want a heavy car when you're trying to go through the rain. So, Inters for CCbrain. Let's have a look actually. What sort of grips he got? Is he able to catch up to Joel? That's going to be really telling. And yeah, look, the grip looks pretty good on the Inters right now. And Joel, let's see if he can get through this corner. Oh, big slide. But yeah, Joel had to slow right down. So the pen. Oh, and Lewis stays out. Ash pits. So Lewis has stayed out for an extra lap. Oh my goodness. He's gambling. He's gambling. There's not many laps left. He's hoping the rain doesn't fall too hard, but Lewis, oh, he has made a decision which may define his season. If he's made the wrong decision, he has just lost the race victory here. Cliffy, Ashbest on the Inters. He's on lap 21. Oh, and he's really struggling for traction. Oh, I think Lewis has made a fatal mistake. We're about to find out in the next half a lap, but why would you risk it? The DRS will disable, so clearly the game thinks it's good enough for Inters, but let's see what his sector times are. Watch for Cliffy. Pine carries on. I don't know why everyone's not pitting now. So Cliffy's 20 seconds behind. How much time is he gaining? Let's see. He's gaining 10 by 7. Oh my goodness, look how slow Lewis is going through. Oh, he's got no grip whatsoever. Yeah. No, it's under 19 seconds, so even if he pits now, Cliffy will be ahead of him if he keeps it on track. So Ashbest then should get an easy move done on Npyne, but Cliffy is in a brilliant position. Even if Npyne holds him up, it should go around the outside and then into the inside for turn 9 and 10. that was brave stuff from Ashbest, because, you know, Npyne's car could easily have just slid at any time. Oh, but Lewis still struggling. Is he going to be able to get the car slowed down? Big C stayed out on the super softs, and I think he's had an incident somewhere. I think he has. Let's have a look at Lewis. So, did he get the car slowed down? Yes, he did admirably. He's losing like a second once again. So what's he doing? Is he going to stay out again? No, he's not. It's not paid off. Oh my goodness, he barely got around that corner. But he will definitely. But the question is, will he end up behind Ashbest as well? Cliffy will definitely get ahead of him. Ashbest. Oh, it's good. It could be close, because the Toro Rosso is very close to the end of the pit lane. But Cliffy heads past him. Ashbest. Oh, Lewis is coming out. Where's Ashbest? I think Ashbest is just going to take him, and he does. Lewis. Oh, it's a disaster for Toro Rosso. That is a horrendous decision from the pit crew there. The Toro Rosso team, disaster. Ashbest, having been behind Lewis the whole race, copied Cliffy's strategy, and now he's in second place. Can Lewis recover that 2.5 seconds and get back? And indeed, can Ashbest, with his wet weather pace we've seen in the past, can he catch Cliffy and make this a titanic battle for the victory? Almost a repeat of the Suzuka race, except roles reversed. Cliffy's winning this time, and Ashbest is behind him. So let's see what sort of wet weather pace Ashbest can offer. Paudie's still out there on the mediums. I just don't understand why there's still people on the soft tyres, unless of course it's a graphical glitch and they are on the wet tyres already. Although I would say that's not the case, because Paudie may as well be in a milk float right now, given the handling he's experiencing, and the speed is not that far off either. So Lickle catching up to Paudie, and he's going to regain 6th place. And Npyne, well, his decision not to pit, that's going to cost him big time as well. Had such a good return to PSGL F1, but yeah, staying out too long on the wets can be so costly. Just as costly as it can be when you pit too early for wet tyres. It's very, very hard to judge it, of course. But Cliffy is on course for a sensational victory on his return to PSGL F1 for Renault. Back to the team he started with. Pyne's going to carry on. Well, he's going to get overtaken. Well, maybe he just thinks there's so little laps left that he's not going to lose too much time. But Wocko should make mincemeat of him. Although, given the speed differentials, there could be a bit of contact here. But no, actually, Wocko sensibly just allows Pyne. You haven't got any grip. I'll just let you go wide, and I'll take the place. So very sensible driving there from Wocko. No point going for a dive bomb on a far inferior car grip-wise. So Wocko up to a very good 4th place. I don't know if that's his best position so far in PSGL F1. I'll have to check. This, I think, would be his best result, unless he's been on the podium last week. I can't remember what the podium was, except that Lewis won the race. So Big C continues to stay out. Let's just see his little struggles. The rate he's going, he's going to drop out of the points. So Ashbest is close within 2 seconds of Cliffy. So the fight for the lead may not be over just yet. So we'll keep a close eye on those two. We're going to just have a look at this. AMS then, looking to get as many points from McLaren as possible, which will be really helpful for the Constructors' Championship. And AMS, just like Wocko, just trying to wait for Big C, and he should have the superior grip. So Ashbest do a similar move earlier on another car that had dry tyres, and Big C, well, he has no answer for that. He's on the wrong tyres right now. He's really, really struggling now. And surely CCbrain will get into points. So Big C is going to drop out of the points. And he goes miles wide. Goes really deep, and Big C frustratedly bangs wheels. He's got no defence, surely. CCbrain will slow it down. But actually the straight line speed may mean he'll still have to go under the brakes. And Ashbest is close to 1.5 seconds on Cliffy. So I think the battle for the lead, Ashbest is unleashing that Schumacher-like wet weather pace. But let's just watch CCbrain, the 2 Mercedes-powered cars. Oh, and a late braking from CCbrain. Perhaps a little later than he would have liked. But he passes Big C, and Big C drops out of the points. 11th is going to be the best position he's going to get. Npyne though, still in 5th place. He might still get in the points. Paudie then drops to 8th position and he could lose more places. So it's interesting that so many of them have just decided to stay out on these dry tyres. Let's go back to Ashbest then. Lewis, just like Spa, not able to find the same pace in the wet as he so often does in the dry. But this has been a fantastic race. So many different strategies, but Cliffy has now got to defend for his life from Ashbest, because now look, 1.3 second advantage. No DRS of course. Whoa, DRS enabled. The rain's still falling, but enough for the race control to put the DRS back on. What on earth is this? This is unusual. So now Lewis might be thinking, well, maybe if it goes dry again, I can get back in this, but maybe... Oh, has Npyne just suddenly pulled off something here? It depends how quickly it dries out. This is an absolutely extraordinary situation. So maybe the dry runners have got it spot on, although I think Big C, unfortunately, may be losing too much time. Oh, and is that Lewis flies into the pits? Oh, he's got it all wrong. Oh my goodness, he's coming in for dry tyres, but my goodness, he nearly flew into the wall, Lewis Hamilton style. He's coming to the dries. Wocko's coming into the dries. We're going to get a grandstand finish here. There's still a lot of spray on track. It's going to be marginal, and look how close Ashbest is. I can't really ever remember there being a race like this. Lico is still going quicker than Npyne, to be honest, on the dry tyres. So Lewis comes out on super softs, although these super softs aren't going to work very well straight away. You need a really good temperature window, and it's still a damp track, so these super softs, I'm not sure they're going to be quick enough at this stage, and he's got Paudie ahead of him as well. So what did the top two do? Ashbest, I think, well, there's 4 laps to go, including this one. Do they stay out? There, well, let's see then. They are nearly 20 seconds ahead of Pine. They're not exactly losing a chunk of time. In fact, they gained time. 5-second stop go penalty for Abby then. So there's a lot of pit lane activity. Cliffy then trying to defend from Ashbest. This is a role reversal of the season, well, no, last season, where Cliffy was trying to chase on Ashbest, but it's the other way. Ashbest stuck in the dirty air a bit. Real credit that no one's left the session, which is just sets up this fantastic finish, grandstand finish here. Npyne is closing the gap. Oh, look at the straight line speed. Cliffy's going to have to go defensive. Late on the brakes they go. Let's turn the HUD off for a second so we can get the best view of these two drivers as they go through the hairpin. So we head for the start of lap 26. Are they going to pit? No, they're not. Ashbest pits. It's still a damp track. Oh, this is just... There's so much gambling going on there. It must be Las Vegas, not China. So many people throwing their last chips onto the table. Npyne is rapidly catching up. But Npyne, I think, is going to jump Ashbest in the pits. So Npyne, on his return, the top two making their return to PSGL F1 are Cliffy and Npyne. This is incredible. So Npyne will chase Cliffy down, and Lewis will try and chase them down as well. He's got 3 laps to catch up to Pine, but that's a tall order to do that. And Ashbest is now ended up behind Paudie. Well, this has been a topsy-turvy race. I mean, if Lewis had not had that cost, he would have been leading this race right now if he'd just pitted. Although actually, he may have been behind Pine still anyway. But look, at the gap is rapidly dropping. I don't think Cliffy is going to hang on here. He's losing too much time. But Pine is 3 seconds ahead. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. We've had so many changes to lead. I mean, if this had been a dry race, it was going to be a processional, you know, Lewis and Ashbest winning this race. But Cliffy is desperately trying to hang on. I don't think he can pit now. It's still slightly damp, still going to have a little bit of temperature, but Pine. But Lewis, to his credit, is really getting the hammer down. He could still win this race. Ashbest has already passed. So Npyne, he may have to do some defending. So these three could be collecting each other on the final lap of the race. And Lewis is absolutely stormed. I think Pine would have obviously used up a lot of his tyres when it was wet. So his tyres will not be in good shape. But these three could be all together on the final lap. 4.9 seconds is the gap between the top two. Lickle has dropped all the way down to 9th. AMS 10th. CCbrain. Big C is up to 7th. And Lewis then. Oh, Pine didn't really have anything. Pine comes back. And they squeeze each other. But Lewis is going to do all their... Oh my goodness, I thought they were going to do an F1 2016 style period. And what is Lewis doing? Trying to bash him off there. He's not happy. But they've caught up to Cliffy. Cliffy's got nothing. Absolutely nothing left. Oh, he's so unlucky. And Lewis takes the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. Unbelievable. Pine is up to 2nd. Cliffy will surely drop off the podium. And he has indeed. Ashbest passes him as well. Can Ashbest still get up to 2nd? So Lewis, we thought he'd lost the race with his strategy situation. Unbelievable. But Lewis, somehow, despite getting the strategy call for the Inters wrong, he's gone back. The rain didn't stay. It's not something you usually see in these games. It barely stayed, in fact. Cliffy now dropping like a proverbial stone down the order. Wocko passes him as well. Oh, it's desperately unlucky. It's going to be one more lap for Ashbest to limit the damage, because Npyne is running in 2nd, but he's looking good for a podium on his return, which would be an unbelievable return for the pro karting driver. Let's have a quick look at Cliffy. He's got a fair gap to Big C. He might have half a chance. But the main battle on track now is between Ashbest and Npyne. On to the final lap then of this astonishing race at Shanghai. And Pine, just as he did to Lewis, will cover the inside of turn 3. The fresh super softs. I'm surprised how well they're working on this damn track. Npyne will defend against the McLaren if he can. CCbrain sets the fast lap of the race. A 1:34.455. And Npyne forces Ashbest off for the time being. Aggressive defending from Npyne, and why not? He's on for a podium. Cliffy then dropping to 7th. He could be out of the points by the end of the race, although he's got a hefty gap to Joelianomanu, so he might get the final point, or at least 9th. So, oh, and my goodness, Pine defending aggressively, but Ashbest isn't going to have any of that, and he's going to dive down the inside, and that will be that for the battle for 2nd place. But look at this, Lewis. He must have had his heart in his mouth when he saw the top 2 going past him on the Inters, having stayed out too long. But it's worked out for him beautifully. He's got 5.9 second gap to Ashbest. Is Npyne going to think about a lunge at the last second? No, he's not. Take the podium, my friend. That's the best thing to do. And Joelianomanu, has he had an incident somewhere? So Lewis crosses the line and wins the PSGL F1 Chinese Grand Prix. What a race that was. And Ashbest will take 2nd. Npyne crosses the line in a sensational 3rd on his return. Paudie and Wocko side by side as they cross the line. Who gets 4th? It will be Paudie and Wocko. Big C will head for the line, and he drops out of the points, and now he's ended up in 6th. Blizard in 7th. And then CCbrain gets 8th place, having had that incident on lap 1. That's a decent return. And Cliffy, well, you've got to feel sorry for him. I mean, he could taste the victory, but the rain gods went ahead of him. But it's still points for Cliffy on his return, and a double point score for Renault, incidentally. As QPRBeasts got that wing damage, unfortunately, that compromised him, but he gets points. But let's head to the race winner then and enjoy his moment. What a topsy-turvy race that was. So many strategies. We had no idea who the winner was going to be until the last couple of laps, but it is Lewis who cuts the championship lead to 15 points. So Ashbest no longer has a win advantage in hand. Wow, what a sensational race that was. If they're like that every week, we're in for a treat. So Lewis celebrates the victory on the podium with Ashbest in 2nd. And Npyne, we're going to talk to Npyne shortly. We are going to have the blue screen of death, unfortunately, but we'll see it. But look at that, the champagne being sprayed. I don't think these drivers would have ever expected a race like that going into tonight, but just like Bahrain earlier in the season, PSGL F1 has delivered an absolute classic this evening. So here is your provisional result then. Lewis in first, Ashbest in second, Npyne in third. Again, a brilliant return. Paudie actually ended up back where he qualified, so good recovery. Fourth place, Wocko in fifth, Big C in sixth, Blizard in seventh, CCbrain in eighth, Cliffy in ninth on his return, QPRBeasts in 10th, but we'll be disappointed by that because he had a good qualifying. Joelianomanu, AMS, Abiodun, Louisw03 and, well, Louisw03 retired actually, I didn't notice that. Greeny, so 3 retirements from the 16 who started, so absolutely brilliant stuff from the PSGL F1 grid tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. So we're going to invite the podium, so bear with me. Right, we'll wait for the podium, guys. Well, let us know in the chat who your driver of the day was. Plenty to pick from, to be honest. Although I have a feeling who a lot of people's choices will be. So we're not going to hear from the race winner, but hopefully we will hear from the other two. Right then, so we're going to wait for Npyne and then we will go from there. Right then, so here is your podium for the PSGL F1 Chinese Grand Prix, and we're not going to be joined by the race winner. He's had to go off. So, I'm going to start with you, Ashbest. Quite a crazy race out there with the changing conditions. How was it for you?
I actually enjoyed that race more than most of my wins, actually, because the diversity in the weather and also the challenges that I had to go through, not only being stuck behind Joel for a bit, had to overtake many people. I mean, you don't usually get that at the front, and like the battles I had with some people were just amazing. So I mean, even though I got P2 and I'm now 16 points ahead, I'm slightly disappointed, yeah, that I didn't win, but like it was a good race, so I don't mind.
Yeah, thanks. That's a well put, Ashbest. A good recovery after Spain last week. So we're gonna. This is surely the man of the moment, Npyne, on your F1 return on the podium. Unbelievable there. So you must have thought you'd thrown it away when you didn't pit for the wets, but you must have got it right in the end there.
Well, see, to be honest, mate, I've been away that long, and when the rain came out, I knew it was going to clear up again. I thought, I've got nothing to lose here. I'm 7 races in the championship. I may as well just stay out. And I mean, stayed out, and I could tell the weather was sort of stabilising. It wasn't really getting much wetter, it wasn't getting much drier, so I thought if I can hang on here, I should be fine. And then obviously it dried up, and I was leading with about 2 laps to go. I thought potentially I could have won, and I was just trying to push as much as possible, but just the guys behind were too quick, Ashbest and Louis. But I mean, if you'd said to me, like maybe even this time last week, you'll be getting 3rd place in China on PSGL, I'd be like, I'm not even going to be fucking racing next week, so yeah, it's good. I'm happy.
Well, a big congratulations to both of you on your brilliant drives there today, and of course to Louisw03, who took his another victory this season as the championship battle really hots up. Well, thanks very much for watching, everybody. We will see you next week with the stern tests to come, much more than this one even has been for Singapore, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.